welcome to another episode of Cricket Talkies. Today we'll discuss the upcoming game versus RCB and Kings 11 Punjab. Hi, Chris and Coach. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Yep, always a pleasure.
Hi.
So RCB is coming off a pretty comfortable victory, but Kings 11 Punjab have a lot to prove after a very close and exciting match on Sunday. So what do you think is the psyche of both teams? Coach, we'll start with you.
Listen, I think RCB, they've been looking for a good start for ages. They finally got it. So I think they're definitely going to be very motivated. They're going to have the momentum going for them. And they're just going to want to win this game. They just want to keep going. Last season, they were 0-6. And, this season, they've already picked up a win. So they just have to keep the ball rolling, Whereas Punjab, they did lose, but they didn't lose by too big of a margin. So I don't think they should get bogged down by it. They need to be careful. And I think they can still win the game, Just because they lost the first game doesn't mean anything. They lost it by a very narrow margin. And if not for I think a foolish shot towards the end, Punjab would have actually just come out on top there. So unfortunately, they lost, but I don't think they should let themselves get bogged down by it. And so I think both team psyches should be somewhere similar.
Chris?
Well, actually, yeah, of course, RCB, they won the match. The momentum is with them, But you ask me, RCB won the match, which they should have lost. And Punjab lost the match, which they should have won. So, but anyway, actually now, though Punjab has lost the match, but still actually they played some good cricket in the match, which they should have won the match. So going into the match tomorrow, I feel Punjab will definitely have an upper hand.
Okay, and let's get started about the toss. What do you think the winner should choose first?
If you ask me, see, so far all the four matches, the team batting, winning the toss, always choose to bowl first, primarily because of the dew factor. The dew factor seems to be playing a big role now. So definitely a team winning the toss will choose to bowl first and then chase. Batting second is always easier here.
Do you agree, Coach?
No, I disagree. I think if you win the toss, you should be looking to bat first. Key reason why, if you look at RCB, they did a good job batting first. They set a good total, and they managed to defend it. And they should be looking to do that again if they can maybe get just a few more runs and the death bowling can do a little better. That's what they should be looking to do. And Punjab, they came very close, but I think, if Punjab bat first and they don't limit themselves, they can just give themselves a good idea of what they should get and base their innings off of that. I think they can really do really well. And if their bowlers know that they have a good total backing them, I think they can really do a phenomenal job against RCB.
What do you think is a good chase?
I think somewhere around 160, 170. I think that's going to be a good total, and it's going to set up a good second innings. We did see RCB 163 managed to win the game by 10 runs. I think Punjab is a little more explosive when it comes to the top order. So I think that's where the extra maybe 10, 15 runs is going to be required. So maybe 170, 175 as opposed to 160. But I think somewhere in that 160 to 175 range is going to be where you want to score.
What about you, Chris? What do you think?
Between 170 to 180 will be a winning total, considering the boundaries are very big, So 170, 180 should be a winning total.
Okay, and now let's talk about the playing 11. Do you see any changes to the Punjab side considering the loss on Sunday? Chris, we'll start with you.
I would definitely go for changes, especially Nicholas Puran should be out and Gale has to play the game, In the initial stages where now people say that actually UAE wickets are slower and all, but we have seen that wicket is really helping fast bowlers a lot. And since there is a lot of bounce and the ball is coming onto the bat nicely, Gale will be more effective. So they have to include Gale at the top of the order. So for Punjab, Nicholas Puran should go out and Gale should be in. And for RCB, I feel Josh Philippe should go out and Moeen Ali should be in. And Dale Steyn should go out and Chris Morris should be in. I know it's very harsh to just drop a player after one match, but Josh Phillips' keeping is very horrible, especially with the way he kept wickets to Chahal. And Chahal is a key bowler, So you cannot make blunders on the bowling of Chahal. So they have to replace him. And if you ask me then who is going to keep wicket, then I will go with ABD.
Okay, what about you, Coach?
So on the terms of RCB, I completely disagree. Actually, I think Josh Philippe, he didn't exactly have the best first game, but at the same time, he didn't really have a lot of chance to bat. So I think I think one game is way too early to decide. I think he should be left in. I think if he gets a little more opportunity with batting, I think he can perform. And as far as keeping goes, I think just getting a little adjusted to the Dubai conditions and stuff, that's going to require a little bit of adjustment. So I don't think you should make any calls just yet on concerning him. And as far as Dale Steyn goes, last season we saw Dale Steyn spearhead the bowling for RCB in the power play and those early overs. And that's when it really matters. If you get a good start early on, you can really continue and keep that up. And while he may not have had the best figures last game, I think he didn't bowl too bad. I think considered 33 runs, but he still didn't do too bad as opposed to someone like Umesh Yadav who conceded almost 50 runs. But I think one game is too early. Maybe if he doesn't perform for another couple of games, maybe then sit him out. But I think one game is too early to make a decision. I think Morris and Moeen Ali should not come in yet. I think Philip and Dale Steyn need to stay. And as far as Punjab goes, I think Gale should come in, but I don't think Pooran should be the one who goes out. I think someone like a Jordan should go out. He didn't have the best performance with the bat or with the ball in the last game. So I think if Gale comes in and opens, you have Gale and Rahul at the top, both of whom have played for RCB before, and knowing the bowlers well, they could really take advantage of that, and then have someone like Mayank Agarwal one down and go from there. I think we drop Karun Nair maybe to compensate for that. And I think Nicholas Pooran, again, same thing. It's too early to make a decision. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think one game is too early to make a decision. I think he should stay in the team. And when you drop Jordan in terms of a third pacer, I think you want to go with someone like an Ishan Porel or Arshdeep Singh to compensate as their third pacer in addition to Sharan Kotra and Mohammad Shami.
Okay. Do you think Padikkal...
Sorry. I want to counter coach, he said a couple of things about... See, Josh Philippe, I never talked about his batting. I said his wicket keeping is very horrible, and since he's going to keep wickets to Yuzvendra Chahal, who is a key bowler, and RCB doesn't have too many wicket-taking bowlers, so the keeping has to be up to the mark, when they keep wickets to Chahal, so they cannot make blunders on that. And second thing, since Gale is going to be playing for Punjab, I included Moeen Ali because he will open the bowling in the power play to counter Gale's attacking stroke play. That's the reason I thought of resting Steyn and including Chris Morris, who can be very useful at the death overs.
Coach, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, on the contrary, I think Dale Steyn is far more effective than Chris Morris in the death overs. And I think you want Philip in that middle overs, in the middle order, because if Virat and AB, if the top order falls apart, you need someone there. And I think rather than have Moeen Ali, who's nowadays he's proving himself more in bowling than he is than batting, I think he's going to be more effective as a spinner. RCB.
I have both Moeen Ali as well as Chris Morris, two genuine all-rounders to bat in the middle orders.
I don't think you can drop someone like a Dale Steyn. He is far better than Chris Morris when it comes to bowling in the death overs, in my opinion. And I think ABD, I think if he's not up to the mark to keep yet, and I don't think he is, which is why he didn't keep in the first game, you cannot put that pressure on him. If you put pressure on him and he doesn't perform on the bat, that's going to be a big issue for RCB. So I think it's better for RCB if they go with the keeper and Josh Philippe. Even if it takes a little time for him to get accustomed to the conditions, go with him, see how his batting performs, wait a few games. If it doesn't work out, then maybe look to play someone like a Parthiv Patel or maybe even someone else, towards the bottom.
Okay. Do you guys think Padikkal and Mayank Agarwal will be the key players for RCB and Punjab, respectively, for this game, or do you think it'd be someone new?
I think it's going to be someone new. I think for RCB, last game, Padikkal did well. And I think at the other end, Aaron Finch was there supporting. And I think this game, Padikkal will hopefully continue to do well for RCB. But I think Aaron Finch, if he can, just get accustomed to the conditions, we already did last game, if he can continue that, play a supportive role for David Padikkal and then go on once he gets out to get a bigger score. I think Aaron Finch could be the MVP for RCB. And as far as Punjab goes, I think KL Rahul is going to be the MVP considering he knows the bowlers better than the rest of the team. And KL Rahul and Chris Gale, but I think KL Rahul is a bit more so because he's a little better at playing spin. And towards the power play, he's a little better at attacking the paces early on.
Well, for Punjab, I would like to go with Glenn Maxwell. Now, since actually RCB is going to have 2-3 spinners, and Maxwell always plays well in UAE, I would like to go with Maxwell for Punjab. And as far as RCB is concerned, I have a gut feeling in tomorrow's match, Virat Kohli might be the key person for RCB. In the first match, though he didn't score much, but he looked to be in good nick. And I feel definitely he will be a MVP for RCB.
Speaking of Virat Kohli, let's talk about leadership. We have the captain of the Indian team as well as KL Rahul, who has played for RCB before. So putting them against each other, do you think KL Rahul might have an advantage because he knows how his opponent team works?
Well, I feel both of them, if you see the last match, first match, both of them did a lot of blunders, So of course, KL Rahul is too inexperienced. So it's not, I mean, you cannot blame him. But Virat Kohli, after captaining India for so long, and in T20, 50 over and Test match, and he's committing so many blunders. So captainship is not up to the mark for both the players, okay? But if you comparatively, yes, I would give upper hand to Kohli, but still they are both are way, way far below than Dhoni.
Yeah, I have to agree with Chris in terms of the fact that Rahul is very inexperienced. And I think Virat, yeah, I don't think he's risen to the occasion, especially. I think Dhoni was a phenomenal captain for India, and he's a phenomenal captain for Chennai. And when you have that as your standard, it's very difficult to compare to that. And I think Virat Kohli falls short for that reason because he's not able to do what Dhoni was able to do. And I think in pressure situations he does struggle. He's phenomenal with the bat, and he doesn't take pressure being captain. But I think you have a chance to be a better captain. I think if KL Rahul has the time to mature as a captain, I think he could eventually turn into a better captain than Virat Kohli.
Okay, and as we mentioned early on, RCB was 0-6 last season. Could this finally be the victory season that RCB has been hoping for so long?
I don't think so. I think RCB, even though they did start off with a win, which will get them the momentum they need, I don't think this is going to be that season because, in my opinion, they don't really have that death bowling. That's their issue. Dale Steyn, who I said is there, yeah, Dale Steyn, if as Chris said, Chris Morris, either one of them could play as their main death bowler, but him and maybe Saini as their death bowlers. But other than that, they don't really have much. And Umesh Yadav, we conceded almost 50 runs in the Hyderabad game. So I think they have to be cautious of that. That's what cost them that's what led them to be at the bottom of the table the last few seasons. And I don't think they've really spent enough time addressing that issue. As the tournament goes on, maybe the spinners, as they become more effective, maybe you could have Chahal bowl 1 or 2 overs towards the death. Maybe not towards like 19th, 20th over, but maybe 17th, 15th, like that. And maybe Isuru Udana, who's better with those cutters and everything, I think maybe he could play towards the second half of the tournament. Maybe that could address their issues. But as far as the beginning goes, with Dale Steyn and Chris Morris being their main paces, I don't see them really doing well.
What about you, Chris?
I entirely agree with Coach what he said. RCB, I don't see them even coming into top 4. Primarily because, as you said, their bowling is very weak. Death bowling is very weak. Except for Saini, they don't have anybody there. Even in spin department, Chahal is there. And Moeen Ali, I'm not sure how he's going to perform in UAE conditions. So the attack is very weak. Unless the top order score 200 plus in every matches, it's very, very difficult for RCB to be in top 4.
Okay, to wrap this up, who are you guys rooting for? What are the odds? Who will be likely to emerge victorious in this game? Coach, we'll start with you.
In my opinion, I think Punjab is going to be the victorious side, just because I think if Gale opens along with Rahul, they have that explosive batting pair, the dynamic duo who worked last season. Maybe not as ideally as Punjab would like to, but they did work. And I think if Rahul can get in good nick, he can perform well. Both of them knowing how RCB operates. They know how to play Chahal. And I think, when Gale is batting at the crease, Kohli won't like to bring on Chahal as a leg spinner against him. He doesn't want to risk Chahal getting hit and not really doing well. And he doesn't want to waste his overs. So I think if Gale is there taking care of the rest of the pace, making sure his wicket stays and he can really explode, we know how Gale works. Once he starts going, there's really no stopping him. And Rahul, who is always just a good timer of the ball, and he plays consistently. So I think those two with that dynamic duo at the opening, and Manik Agarwal, who's been a great nick, scored a phenomenal last game, along with someone like Purang Maxwell in the middle order who can continue that depth. I think Punjab have the better chances.
Chris?
Yeah, I agree with him. Punjab has an upper hand, especially because of their batting strength. They have, if they include Gale, then Gale, Rahul, Maxwell, and Mayank Agarwal, 4 explosive batting, and they have some decent bowling in Ravi Bishnoi and others. So I feel Punjab will have a slight edge over RCB.
Okay, that was our pregame analysis for the upcoming RCB versus Kings 11 Punjab game. Thank you, Coach and Chris, for joining me. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more exciting content as we cover the Dream 11 IPL 2020.